people are finally starting to see that the government is not their friend as we see it right now. They finally see that, well, many people finally see that the Republican Party, they're cheaters.
Welcome back. This is the Foolish Optimist Podcast. We are on the hunt for the next generation of progressive leaders in the United States. I'm your host, Amy McDonald. I'm so grateful that you are here. If you haven't yet, please do me a favor and subscribe or like wherever you are. Do all the things. Press the buttons. Share it with your friends. You know how the internet works. I don't have to tell you. But I am really excited to announce our guest today. Our guest is Emily Morgul, running for U.S. Senate out of the great state of Texas. She decided to run the day Roe v. Wade died because the Senate confirmed Supreme Court justices, and she never wanted another Brett Kavanaugh or Justice Clarence Thomas ever again. She's the daughter of immigrants. If elected, she'll be the first second-generation Turkish American woman to ever serve in the Senate, and she represents and advocates for all marginalized people, regardless of gender, sexuality, religion, color, race. And her goal is to bring others together during this hopeless moment in history. You can follow her online at Emily4, that's the number 4, Senate.org. And Emily4, again, the number 4, Senate TX, or Emily4, number 4, Senate. The English language is this. I have to clarify. I'm holding up the number 4 if you're watching the video, but if you're not, then I'm telling you. Emily, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. I really appreciate you and your time.
So talk to me. Tell me a little bit about why 2026. We know Roe v. Wade was the catalyst, but why 2026?
So 2026 gave me the time that I needed to get all of my ducks in a row, as many ducks as I could at least before the 2024 election. And I didn't think that I could reasonably be prepared, both mentally, emotionally, all of the things before 2024. So 2026 it was, and I looked up my main opponent, which at the time was John Cornyn. And I said, you know what? He's an old white dude. We need to get him out of office.
You're right. He's been around since 2002, which is some of the people listening to this hadn't been born yet. I was learning long division. It was a bitch then. It's a bitch now. And those teachers, they're like, you won't have a calculator with you at all times. Liars.
Okay.
Liars. I know, right? Every mini computer in our pockets. So that's really exciting. You're not a lifelong Texan, right? But you've been there for a while.
So I was born in Texas until I was 14 years old, going on 14. Moved to Newfoundland, Canada in 2000 it might have been 2003. I was there until 2010. And I moved back to Texas, and I've basically been here since.
So, like, the majority of your life has been in Texas. And obviously, Texas is like, to me, frankly, Texas is the ball game, right? If we could get enough people energized to show up to vote, we can flip these Texas Senate seats. And we can also get them to come out for presidential elections. There's no way to win. The conservative answer to California is Texas. So what is your thought process around, obviously mobilizing an entire state, but a very big and a very diverse state? What are you thinking with how to bring people together and get them excited about this midterm race?
So something that I've had to reinforce to a lot of people is, right now feels really hopeless with everything going on, and myself included. I have to talk myself out of the hole sometimes. But, Trump's reelection and then subsequent actions, plus I don't know if you heard about the recent gerrymandering vote here in Texas,
Yes.
which was very controversial, where several members of the Texas legislation went to Chicago.
They went to Illinois. Yeah.
Yeah. I met one of them. Her name is Vicki Goodwin. She's running for, I think, lieutenant governor here in Texas. Great.
Maybe. I think you're right. Yeah.
Anyway, so she, something that I've had to reinforce to people is that, yes, it feels hopeless, but more people than ever are radicalized against corruption. People are finally starting to see that the government is not their friend as we see it right now. They finally see that, well, many people finally see that the Republican Party is they're cheaters. The only way that they can win is by cheating. And the gerrymandering was the icing on top of the cake that really opened up people's eyes. Because I actually spoke to Vicki not too long ago and I asked her, why did y'all leave Texas? And her answer was, so that way we could make it not just Texas news, we could make it US news. We could make it, everybody would know about it. And Gavin Newsom, he did his thing. But that act of courage, I think she said 50 of her closest friends, she said, the courage that it took to be able to take those steps, to leave the state knowing that there would be severe consequences when they came back. It really did put this corruption into the spotlight. So every time the Republicans pull some sort of crap, more and more people realize that either MAGA or Republicans are not their friend. They're not looking out for their best interest. They're looking out for their seats and their seats only.
Yeah. And that is actually pretty, there is a silver lining here. And I think it is exactly what you're saying, right? It's, we say radicalized, obviously, in the rest of the world, they're like, no, you're now just paying attention. But for so long in the United States, so many of us were comfortable enough that we felt like we didn't need to pay attention. I'm saying we collectively. I've never been that way. I was an annoying child, like to the point that people were like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, what's wrong with you? I'm like talking to like 33-year-old men at a bowling alley and I'm like 11. I'm like, you don't care about politics? It's weird. So, I think a lot of Americans though felt as though that they've been fine, right?
Yeah.
And of course, like our most marginalized groups have never been fine. They've always been attacked. And a lot of white women and men, frankly, have been able to ignore that because it didn't affect them, which is, it's a bit sad when you think about it. But it's also like, great, took you long enough. Welcome to the party. Show the fuck up. Spend some money. Let's get some people elected who are going to change some shit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And something that I realized too is that young people beforehand didn't really care about politics because they felt like their opinions didn't really matter. But with the progression of social media, plus the way that things are going, plus their parents getting them more involved than ever in political things, they finally feel like their voice matters and they can actually do something. I was at the Texas Capitol one day during the gerrymandering hearings, and I met some young people who were actually a part of a Young Democrats group. And I thank them wholeheartedly for their participation in our government, in our politics, because we need young people. They are the generation who's going to take over, and we need them to step up. We need them to be educated. We need them to be passionate.
I know. I feel like right now we're going through this major catalyst with millennials. And would it be a lot easier if millennials had all been adequately informed and involved? Hell yeah, it would be, right? People keep saying like, oh, like nobody wants to give up power and all these things. And I'm like, well, you have to remember that like a lot of millennials just weren't running. And now they are. And now at the same time, the Democratic Party doesn't want to give up power. So now you can say, hey, they really don't want to give up any power. But for a while there, I was like, well, nobody's running. And it is hard. Running is very hard. How are you finding it? It's a lot.
It's a lot of failing forward, honestly.
Yeah.
I made a lot of mistakes along the way, and that's okay because you can't learn without failing. And I'm a solo kind of gal. I don't have any staff. I don't have a campaign manager. It's just me. And so all of the documents that have had to be filed and filled out, all of that has been on me. Networking, going to different events, driving across Texas, that has all been me.
How far is that drive for our listeners?
It really depends on where you're going. So Austin is approximately 2.5 to 3 hours away. I was in...
And you're based in
Houston, Texas.
Houston, okay.
Yeah. I was in Longview, Texas, I think last month. This year has been a blur, honestly. And that was, I think, a 4-hour drive. But I know people who drove 12 hours to get there.
Right.
So it's a very, very big state. It's actually the second biggest state by landmass in all of
to Alaska. Those stupid maps lie to us. They make Alaska look so much smaller than it is. Alaska's fucking huge, everybody. The maps are lying to us. I feel like I'm going insane. Yeah. Texas is also huge. I mean, Texas has millions and millions of people, and it's literally has like this
32 million. Yeah.
That's the size of a lot of countries. I've been in Europe.
I mean, a lot of the Western Seaboard by itself. Actually, Houston itself, the greater Houston area, I think it has something like 10 million people in it.
Yeah. Yeah, like
something like that.
That's bonkers, right? I've been in Europe for the last month, and I've been trying to explain to people here. I'm like, no, so I'm like, you have your European Union. We have the United States. We worked backwards. We created the United States and then cut it up into states, which are more or less countries to an extent. You know, like they're the size of countries. They don't operate as their own countries. But obviously, like Texas has its own very, very special, unique history as it pertains to the other 50 states. Yeah. And it also is like very unique in its culture because it's so close to Mexico, but it's also part of it's considered the South, but part of it's considered the Midwest. Like, you know, not really, but it's like hits up into the Oklahoma area. So you're like, I guess it's not considered the Midwest, but like,
I think
if someone was like,
fight you on that.
Probably. And luckily I'm 8,000 kilometers away from you guys, so you can't physically harm me. But I'm sure as I come back to the United States, I'll keep my eye over my shoulder. But I think that's kind of the tough thing, other than just the space, is just all these different cultures in one. And of course, a bunch of different languages. The cities are multicultural as well. So yeah.
Actually, I have to give props to Houston where it's due. I have a love-hate relationship with Houston, mostly because of the traffic and how long it takes to get everywhere. But Houston, the University of Houston, is actually the most multicultural university in the entire country, meaning Houston is one of the most multicultural cities in the United States. And actually... there's something like 5,000 restaurants at any given time within the greater Houston area. And you can get anything from, I don't know, Afghani food, Nigerian food, Persian food, Iraqi food, Turkish food. Yeah. You can get any kind of cuisine here that you want.
It's awesome.
I love that about Houston.
That's like one of my favorite things about living in major cities is just how many options there are. And maybe that like lends itself to explaining how my brain works a little bit. But it's also like when you have a city that size, there's literally something for everybody, right? Whether it's food or it's like things to do. And occasionally you do see like some really weird stuff. And this is not to knock what I'm about to say, but every now and again in Central Park, you'll see like full on LARPers who are like fully dressed as like elves, and they're like really in it. I
I love
forget what
that.
LARPing stands for, but it's like LARPing means live action role playing. So like
Oh,
really into it, and you're like, oh, you spent thousands of dollars to look like an elf for the
we have those
afternoon.
kind of
Yeah.
conventions here actually in Houston.
Oh, the cons are cool. I'm like, then
Oh
you've
yeah.
got like hundreds of thousands of people, but when it's like six of them in a park, you're like, good for you. Good for you. But again,
Yeah.
it's something for everybody.
Actually, you're more likely to see that somewhere in Austin.
Yeah.
Motto for Austin is keep Austin weird. So,
And
gonna
they're
lie.
they're very big believers in that. But Austin, I guess Austin and Texas itself have very much changed demographically in the last couple of years, right? We had like a little bit of a Tesla takeover, right? Was it Tesla or was it space?
It was,
It was
well, I
something
think
from
that space is
Musk.
probably coming up because we do have NASA here,
Yeah.
but Tesla for sure. And aside from that, we have a lot of major industries here in Houston. We have the space industry, obviously. We
Mm-hmm.
have the energy industry, so natural gas, electricity, that sort of thing. We have the oil and gas industry, obviously. We have
Yeah.
the medical industry, which again, props to Houston. We have the largest medical complex in the entire state, in the entire country, with the caveat that Texas is also one of the least insured in the country. So not everybody is able to access those services, unfortunately.
To reiterate what you said it's one of the least insured states
That's
in the
correct.
country.
Yep.
Interesting. Do you have any ideas around how to make sure that our American populace are more insured as a whole, or maybe healthcare in general, right? Because health insurance, in my mind, is not particularly healthcare.
Yeah. So something that you realize as you don't, because I don't have health insurance myself,
Hmm.
something that you realize if you don't have health insurance is that there are a lot of low cost clinics in, at least in Houston. I'm not sure about the rest of Texas, but there are also a lot of people who are willing to, what is the word that I'm looking for? Uh, Bypass, insurance costs and make your doctor's visits or your doctor's care more affordable by, say, for
Yeah.
example, you have one visit which may cost $150 for the initial visit, but then if they're willing to communicate with you like via their text portal. And so that
Yeah.
way they're able to work with you if you don't have insurance, if you're low income, if you're struggling. The other thing is that, you know, that's really a loaded question because
Yeah. Like,
we
fix it right now on this 45-minute podcast.
exactly. Um, you know, the insurance industry is just, it's such a scam. It is such a
Yeah.
scam. And I think it's really up to talking to individual providers and talking to the network of doctors and nurses and stuff that we have in the state and getting them to be accessible to the people who don't have healthcare or don't have it readily available because there's a
Yeah.
lot of places in Texas. where it's very rural, where they don't even maybe have doctor's offices, where they have to drive, 45 minutes to one of the major cities like Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, Austin, to be able to access any kind of major medical care. And so we need clinics in these medical deserts, as they call them.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like you're advocating for like regulations on the health insurance company, which I agree with wholeheartedly. Because I feel like we've gotten to this point where we're like trying to allow these industries to regulate themselves.
It's just not working.
They don't do that. You think nobody wants to like it's a I don't know if you're a Law and Order SVU fan. I am guessing.
Yeah.
I was about to say based on your age and the I'm like me too. Same. But you know how they're always like, well, internal affairs is looking into it, and everyone's like internal affairs is the police regulating themselves, right? And Congress, the House of Representatives regulates their own ethics. Whereas the Senate has an outside thing that looks in on their ethics, right?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously there's a lot less senators than there are congressional, like House of Reps, right? It's 435 to 100 House of Reps to senators, but there's a lot less ethical issues in the Senate because one, there's less of them. Two, they do have an outside board that's actually looking in on them versus the House of Reps that's like, we will police ourselves. It's the same with industry. The point of government is to regulate. It's to protect the citizens, but if you have to regulate the economy and then the fucking industry in the meantime,
well, we've actually
do your job.
A lot of that too because of the Chevron deference. We lost that when the Supreme Court overturned it.
Yes.
That you look to experts to make those types of decisions, but now it's left to the government, which of course is not acting in our best interest at this point.
The problem with our government and the way that our system is set up is that the founding fathers assumed that we, the people, the voting people, would not vote for people who are ethically and morally corrupt and not like vote for somebody that's literally like a 34-time felon. So there are loopholes. There are loopholes to be exploited.
And I mean, it doesn't help that some of our founding fathers were the greatest people. A lot of them were slave owners. Some of them were, sex offenders.
It's like a lot. It's like a lot. It's you're being kind when you're saying some, but it's like I think almost every single one owned other people except for John Adams, and maybe Ben Franklin eventually got rid of his. But I think it's like almost every single one, and I also would hazard a guess at least like 35 to 50% were also sexual predators. We know Tommy J, big boy was, but I don't know.
I would love to say that they were idealistic, but how do you fix up a system that was created by people who believed that they could own other people and who actively were predators at the very least against women and young girls?
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure. That's a good question. Do you think the system we have is savable, or do you think we need to wipe the clean slate? You know, we're hitting 250 years. We're heading into our terrible teens as the country age. So yeah, again,
I think
solve this major problem.
I think about that question a lot. Do we need to wipe the slate clean, or is there a chance to save it? And I think that we need to get rid of a lot of things that we know to be true about our government. But I think starting over from scratch is a little bit idealistic. Does that make sense?
That's how I feel. People are like, burn it down. And I'm like, and then what?
Yeah.
We have a ton of shit that we need to remove, and we need to get some of these bills off the fucking books, right? Yeah. That's part of the issue, is that all these bills sit there, and then like a bill gets repealed and they're like, great, now abortion's illegal again because of a bill from 1801. And you're like, well, fuck off. That bill shouldn't be there anymore. That's not fair. Yeah. Like, nah, that shouldn't be just sitting there waiting. But it's insane. And I'm like,
You want to talk about archaic laws? Fun fact, in Texas,
is it going to be fun? Is it going to actually be fun?
Yeah, kind of. In Texas, it is still legally on the books that you are only allowed to have a certain amount of
you can say whatever you want.
Sex toys in your home. Legally.
You know what we should
do?
Okay,
however, a judge in Harris County, which is in Houston, ruled that to be unenforceable. So it kind of,
Dang. I was about to say, we go with a vibrator company. We get a partnership and we get all of the Texas Republicans put in jail.
Well, you know what? Honestly,
malicious compliance
already have them in their homes.
Yeah. We could send them more.
Yeah, the more uptight you are, the more you have to hide. Let's be real here.
That is a common theme in U.S. history, isn't it?
It's not a coincidence that some of the best paying customers for sex workers is Republicans. In politics, honestly.
Did you hear the, I don't know if you've been paying attention to the news in the porn world, but PornHub has gotten a little involved in politics. And I don't remember when it was. I think it was Trump's first term, but they were trying to do something where they made it really hard to get PornHub in certain states. And they literally were like, if you do that, we will release the names. We will release the IP addresses and people will find out what you're looking at all the time. And we know it's you because you're going back and forth between your home state and DC all the time with your laptop. And I was like,
I love that. I love that for PornHub. And actually, so a couple of years ago, I want to say they passed a bill which would require people to put their driver's license information, or they would require some sort of
when that was
identity verification, which is, like you were just talking about, would backfire on a lot of people. And PornHub actually doesn't cater to Texans anymore. And so I think that you can't get it in Texas anymore. And I think once it went into effect, the VPN use skyrocketed in Texas.
Yes.
There's always going to be a way around it. Always.
That's so funny. I think the reason I was paying attention to it was because they expressly threatened North Carolinian politicians, and I am from North Carolina, and I was like, that's hilarious. A lot of these people who are in government, they're not internet savvy, and that's a hard thing to say out loud, but it's true. Yeah. Watching the Senate hearings on social media is always if I need a laugh, I will go watch that, right? Whether it's Tom Cotton asking the head officer of TikTok if he's in the Chinese Communist Party when he's like, I'm from Singapore, over and over and over again. That one really makes me laugh. Or the one where a senator is asking the VP of tech at Instagram what Finstas are and if he's going to delete all the Finstas. And the VP of tech is like, how did I get here? He's like, I can't. It's not and he's like, just keeps out. It's so great. So great. Do you have any ideas about emerging technology and how we can maybe, I don't know, deal with that?
AI is really the big buzzword right now, and it's both great and also not great for a variety of reasons. A lot of people are really concerned about losing their jobs because of AI, which, when the Guild was on strike a few years ago, one of the signs that I saw that has stuck with me ever since was AI doesn't have childhood trauma, which is chef's kiss.
It's just not as funny as us.
No, it can never be. And yes, it's made to learn. pattern,
Right.
but it will never be human. It will never have those emotions because, humans are, there's a reason that there's only one species. There's a reason why we can't find like us out in the rest of the universe, because we are a very unique species. Our brains are wired to protect us at all costs. And our brains work extremely interestingly to make that happen. Interestingly being like the nice word here. Our brain, for being as amazing as it is really stupid sometimes. But
Yeah, I agree with that.
am of the opinion that if you're going to use AI, which I have my own issues with it, like it's using fresh water to have to cool the systems. And, I think I read somewhere, I think it was Colorado, California, one of those states where they already don't have a lot of water.
Yeah.
They are running out of water because of fresh water, because of having to cool these AI generating machines.
Like data centers and stuff. Yeah.
But we need to learn to work with AI instead of against it. And I think that, we're going to lose some jobs and it's going to suck for a little bit. But the great thing about being human is that we always find a way to work around it. So we will find a way to overcome anything that AI has to do. And we're not at the point yet being the key word, where AI is going to be taking over us. So we still have a little bit of time before that.
My background is in AI and
Really?
I was selling tech with AI, and everyone's always like, what? People are going to lose their jobs. And the best response actually came from one of our customers. He was like, yeah, you know how many people lost their jobs when Excel came out? Like, he was like, yeah, we had to retrain an entire floor of people. We had to let go people. People came back. They came back more skilled and more learned. They're making more money than ever. But he's like, it's new technology. We have to find a way, like you said, to work with it and also make sure that our communities are safe, even though I'm also just like, somebody figure out how to do it with salt water. Like, we have the smartest people, like literally some of the smartest people are alive ever right now. It's going to be some like 10-year-old too. They're going to figure it out for like a science fair. It's going to be awesome. And I hope, fingers crossed, girls in STEM. Hope, I'm biased. Yeah.
The other thing to come from that too is that we will have more jobs for skilled laborers, like in the trades. We'll have more need for electricians, people, construction workers.
Exactly.
So yes, we're going to lose some white collar jobs, but at the same time, we're going to gain blue collar jobs.
And then we just have to kind of like set up the system to actually benefit those people, right? Because years ago, it was very easy to like either start a trade school in high school so that you only had maybe 6 months when you got out, and then all of a sudden you're working, making some real money, right?
Yep.
And we also have to like have real conversations around unionizing and making sure that labor standards are really fair for these trade workers. Because so I sold AI for real estate and construction. So like, so I'm like, but before that I was in physical real estate and construction. So I understand these trades really well, and I understand some of these issues that they face and why it's just so frustrating to me that we're not setting up, why every high schooler in America doesn't get to see pamphlets and be like, hey, you know what? I actually really love doing things with my hands. And I think being an electrician is what I could do really well. And I don't need to go to a 4-year. Yeah.
Yeah. Not everyone is cut out for a 4-year college. And it's at the point now where you have to, going to a 4-year college just to get a 4-year degree, not even talking about specialty training, not even talking about law school, medical school. It's the price of a house. sometimes.
Like,
Get a 4-year education.
or more. Yeah. I mean, it's a weird, yeah. Yeah. And then we complain because we say, oh, like, we don't have enough skilled workers to fill up these job sites. Or people get mad that people are coming into the country to do these jobs because they have the skills. And it's like, well, some of these kids didn't even fucking know it was an option. That's not fair.
That's true. A lot of them didn't because the last couple of decades, it's been prepare for college, prepare for college, prepare for college. And actually, I used to work in cosmetics. So I was a makeup artist and I used to go to different stores, met a lot of people. And something that I heard overwhelmingly was that school, at least here, we're not prepping kids or we're not talking about the options of trade schools. They were all about taking right now they're called the STAR tests, the standardized tests.
Right, that's Texas, right?
Yeah.
Lone Star. Lone Star. I get it. Yeah.
So they were all about preparing these kids for these stupid tests, which is ridiculous, by the way. These standardized tests. I also have been an educator before, and I've read some of these questions, and I am a 36-year-old lady. If I cannot figure out what it's asking me, then how is a child going to figure it out? It just doesn't make any sense. But yeah, I mean, it's all about going to university. It's never about going to trade school. And for girls, it's always, if there's a trade school, that they're encouraged to do, it's always cosmetology, of course.
Right. So. Which is, by the way, great because, everyone will always need their haircut and we will always need makeup artists. That is something that AI cannot do. They just, especially robotics right now, they don't have a steady enough hand. But also, women can make a ton of fucking money doing underwater welding.
Yeah. And I wasn't trying to imply that there's anything wrong with.
Oh, no, I'm with you. Totally. No, I know exactly what you're, 100%, but it's just,
it really is.
It's 2025. Hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so, I mean,
more women in STEM.
If you haven't seen an electrician lay wire really well, you might not know this, but that's also a fucking art. It's beautiful. You're just like,
so nice. Yeah.
And you're just like, that's so nice. It's so pretty. You've done it so well. And it could not even work. I wouldn't know because I'm not skilled like
you and me both. My husband works on IT, and he sets up like internet mainframes within the, I don't even know if that's the right word. He sets up internet and cameras and all that kind of stuff in commercial buildings. And when he sends me pictures of his work, it's beautiful. And we have texts from Comcast or AT&T. I mean, it just looks like garbage. So yeah, it really isn't art.
It is. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about what you think is keeping Texans up every night. Maybe the top 2 issues.
I'd say probably the cost of living. Being able to afford your electricity, your rent or mortgage, which astronomical at this point. If you're a homeowner, property taxes have gone through the roof.
Oh, well, and Texas doesn't have an income tax, right?
They don't. That's correct. Yeah, they don't have an income.
So
they do sales tax.
Okay, so sales tax, but then property taxes probably have to kind of cover that difference, right? A little bit, not exactly, but they probably go up a little bit more.
Sure how it works.
Me neither.
That it probably does.
It's got to be reflected somewhere.
Well, a lot of that goes into our schools, so that's why you always see actually, I don't know how it is in the rest of the country, but the community colleges here, if you are not in a district where the property taxes goes towards funding these colleges, they will actually pay you like out of state tuition fee. So I was at Lone Star College several years ago, and I happen to live in an area where their property taxes didn't go towards the college system. And so I had to think almost double. And then that's also why you see a lot of low income areas, why they have not great schools, because their property taxes are going to be lower than places like I'm thinking about Spring Branch, which is a high immigrant, low income area. Whereas in Texas, it's very, very expensive. The property taxes are probably a lot. It goes towards public schools. It goes towards colleges. I'm honestly not entirely sure where else it goes, but I'm sure that it like takes care of the roads and all that kind of stuff as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's like the major flaw in our education system, is that it is mostly done by property taxes.
Yeah.
And that is, of course, a remnant of racism. It's not a remnant of racism. It's true blue racism right in your face, right? It is a remnant of segregation is what it's a remnant of. And it's got to go away. But
so on top of property taxes and rent and all that kind of stuff, people will have to worry about the cost of food. I think I was reading an article one time where this guy had he had a Walmart order, and this is from like a couple of years back, and he just put the cart, like added it all back to the cart. At one point it was $100, and then it changed to like $300.
I fucking saw that. How insane. And that, I think it was like 2019 to 2024 or something, or maybe 2025, but like, triple. I don't even know how to represent that in percentages. I know.
And the cost of, your incomes haven't gone up whatsoever. The other things that are keeping Texans awake at night are probably healthcare, not being able to afford, if your child gets sick in the middle of the night, are you going to take them to the emergency room and have this ginormous bill? Or are you going to, save that money for food? Like, these are life and death situations here. And even 30 minutes can sometimes make the difference between life and death of a child. So I think that those two things are probably the biggest two, honestly. Because, with the rise of obesity, which it's been on the rise, but fun fact about Texas, again, Houston used to be one of the fattest cities in America. And have you ever seen that show, My 500-Pound Life?
I've heard of it. I've never seen it.
So the bariatric doctor that is featured on that show is in the Houston Medical Center.
Okay.
And I think that, I can't remember which city is now on there, but there's a city in Texas that was ranked fattest in Texas. And so you've got this huge amount of obesity in Texas, and the rise of illnesses based on obesity. So you have high blood pressure, you have diabetes, type 2 diabetes, you have high cholesterol. And of course, in order to get those medications, you need to go to a doctor. And sometimes in the case of like diabetes, you need to go to a doctor, 3 to
all the
6
time.
months.
Like a lot. Yeah.
That doesn't even include the cost of things like medication, specifically insulin, the supplies to take your blood sugar, like the little meters. It's absolutely disgusting. And then in order to get an excused absence from school, kids are, they have to bring doctor's notes. And on one hand, I get it because, some parents are not the greatest and they want a third set of eyes or a second set of eyes to make sure that child is safe. But on the other hand, a doctor's visit for a pediatrician is, I mean, for some people, it's their entire grocery bill.
That's a paycheck. Yeah, you like literally it's if you're working minimum wage, it could be a paycheck. It could be your grocery bill. It could be 2 tanks of gas. So
Yeah.
like set up a system that fucking
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, thank you. I appreciate you telling me all of these things and taking some time. Now at the end, we do 10-ish. We do random questions. But before we do that, will you tell everyone where they can find you? One more time. I told them up top, but if you can do website, socials, etc., where they can donate or volunteer.
So, hi again. My name is Emily Morgul, and I'm running for U.S. Senate in Texas. Fun fact, there's over 25 people running for this specific seat between Democrats and Republicans, and I am the only woman. And yeah, and I feel like it's my duty and my responsibility to show women and little girls that it is possible to run for politics without coming from a legacy family, without coming from generational wealth. Anyway, that aside, you can find me on TikTok, Emily 4 Senate TX. You can find me on Instagram, although I'm not as active on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook, Emily for Senate. And then my website will go live later this month. It's Emily4Senate.org. I am officially launching on Halloween, so it's going to be
by
really
the time
fun.
this comes out, you will be officially launched.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be epic. I'm so excited to launch. You can donate on ActBlue under Emily Morgul. And any donations, just so you know, they're not coming from any PACs or political action committees. I am a grassroots candidate, meaning I'm not taking donations from any kind of those organizations, corporations. Everything is based on normal people, just like you and I. And I am so grateful for all of the donations that I've received so far. I honestly have not even really asked for a lot of donations, but I've received them, and it gives me chills just thinking about it. Like, I had no idea that people cared about my running to even donate. So I am super grateful for that. And you can find me in different parts of Texas. I also take requests to go all over Texas. So if you have a speaking engagement that you'd like me to be at, I would happy to be there. I would be happy to be there, and I would be so honored to speak at your event.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So let's do it. Are you more of a cat or a dog person?
Cat. I had 3 cats until earlier this year, but unfortunately one of them passed away, so we only have 2. But my retirement goal is to buy a big house and just fill it full of cats.
You give off cat energy in like the best way possible. What is your favorite thing you've ever done in your professional life before running for office?
So back to my makeup artistry days, I used to work on movie sets, and I used to work on runways and stuff like that. And I really loved that. But more than anything, I used to love going to different stores and meeting just everyday people. And one of the biggest things that I heard when I sat people down in my chair was, okay, make me beautiful. And my favorite thing to do was to say, well, you're already beautiful. We're just going to enhance what you already do. And just seeing the light on their faces when A, you tell them that, and B, like when you show them what's possible with just a little bit of makeup and a little bit of confidence, it used to warm my heart, honestly.
That's so cute. If you had to eat one
Pizza.
meal.
Pizza. I love pizza.
It's amazing. Okay, that's perfect. I can't wait to use that on social media.
Just pizza.
Well, okay, I won't even ask the rest of the question. Are you a coffee tea person?
I'm a Diet Coke person.
Fuck yes. Oh, I'm a coffee person in the morning, but I love a Diet Coke. I love it. It's different here. Like I said, I've been in Europe. Doesn't taste the same, and it's like I might in a truly addict move go back to the United States and ship some here. And I don't even know if that's legal, so don't quote me on that.
Well, I won't tell anybody.
Nobody will ever know. What's your favorite thing about Texas? That's my last question.
My favorite thing about Texas is the multiculturalism, A, and B, the people, because despite what you might see in on a lot of media, I mean, I've heard from New Yorkers that Texas is the one place that they've been able to go and people ask them how they're doing, or they'll actually engage in conversation.
Yeah.
And despite some of the political, views that some people have, Texans are some of the most friendly people that you've ever met. A lot of them don't even know a stranger.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
it's a true Texan hospitality right there.
Yeah, exactly right.
Thank you so much. This is Emily Morgul. You can follow her website and all of her socials. Will be in the show notes. She is running for the U.S. Senate seat out of Texas. And as mentioned, she is the only woman running. So you should support her and maybe volunteer some time to make some phone calls, etc., or knock some doors. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you.
If you've made it this far, thank you so much. Thank you for following The Foolish Optimist. You can follow us on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts, pretty much. We're going to be dropping new episodes every Wednesday, and you can watch the video episodes on YouTube. If you would like to, please give us a review, leave comments. You can also email us at thefoolishoptimistpodcast@gmail.com. If you see any really great candidates that I should be talking to, send them my way. Thank you.